When I think back to the early days of my life, I remember a young man full of dreams but paralyzed by doubt. I was rejected by almost every university I applied to, every investor I approached, and even by KFC when I applied for a job. Yes, I failed in front of so many people. Each no whispered into my mind that I wasn't enough, that maybe I should settle for what was easy and familiar. But over time I learned a simple truth. Self-doubt is a thief. It quietly steals your energy, your focus, and your chance to act decisively. The most successful people I know, and those I eventually became, understood that doubt is not an obstacle to work around. It is an enemy to remove entirely. I realized that if I wanted to achieve something extraordinary before 2026, or in any year, I had to eliminate the voice inside that said, "You cannot do this." Every moment I entertained doubt was a moment wasted. A moment when my potential shrank instead of grew. Removing self-doubt doesn't mean you become arrogant or blind to challenges. It means you free your mind to think bigger, act bolder, and risk more than the average person dares. Once I stopped questioning my ability and started focusing on action, doors I never imagined began to open. Self-belief is the soil where extraordinary results grow. If you allow even a seed of doubt to linger, it will strangle your efforts before they take root. The quiet work you do in private, powered by confidence and conviction, becomes unstoppable. By deleting self-doubt now, you make space for bold decisions, relentless momentum, and results that speak louder than words. The year ahead is a blank page. Fill it with action, not hesitation. One of the hardest lessons I had to learn was that not everyone around you wants to see you succeed. Early in my career, I surrounded myself with people I thought were friends, colleagues, even mentors. But I noticed a pattern. Some voices always complained, always doubted, always warned me about what might go wrong. At first, I listened because I thought caution was wisdom. Slowly, I realized their complaints were not guidance, they were distractions. Every time I absorbed their negativity, I lost focus, energy, and sometimes the courage to take the next step. I remember trying to explain my vision for Alibaba to a few people who I trusted. Instead of encouragement, I received critiques filled with fear and skepticism. "It's too risky," they said. "You'll never succeed." Their words were like invisible chains holding my mind hostage. I learned that negative people are like background noise. They don't just fill your ears, they seep into your thinking. If you want to unlock your true potential before 2026, you must remove the habit of listening to those who thrive on envy, doubt, or fear. Cutting out complainers is not arrogance. It's self-preservation. Silence and discernment protect your energy and allow your vision to grow without being filtered through the lens of someone else's limitations. I began to spend more time with quiet, action-oriented people and less with those who only talked. Their presence reminded me that your environment shapes your mind and your mind determines your results. By removing the voices that slow you down, you create space for focus, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. The world only remembers doers, not talkers. When you stop listening to complainers, you begin to hear your own voice, the one that knows what is possible and refuses to settle for less. That voice becomes your compass, guiding every decision, every risk, and every victory. Habits are powerful, but most people don't realize that they can either build your empire or quietly destroy it. In my early days, I had habits that delayed every success: procrastination, distraction, and hesitation. I would waste hours worrying about outcomes instead of acting, convincing myself that small delays didn't matter. But over time, I learned a brutal truth. Every repeated action compounds. The habits you allow today define the results you achieve tomorrow. If you want to unlock your true potential before 2026, the first step is to identify which habits are silently holding you back, and then remove them entirely. I remember the early Alibaba days when small distractions could have derailed everything. I realized that if I continued letting inefficiency creep in, if I continued letting small bad habits go unchecked, they would quietly shape my future into something ordinary. Successful people don't wait for motivation. They design their lives around discipline. Every habit you eliminate is space gained for focus, action, and growth. When you remove bad habits, you're not just stopping negative behaviors. You're actively creating the environment for your best self to emerge. This is why discipline is not optional. It is the foundation upon which extraordinary results are built. Your potential cannot grow in soil tainted by procrastination, distraction, or indecision. Each day you delay, purging bad habits, is another day you let opportunities slip through your fingers. By erasing them fast, you free yourself to act boldly, consistently, and with unstoppable momentum. Remember, the world only remembers those who take action, not those who make excuses. And habits either make you or break you in silence. Comfort is a silent killer. It whispers to you that staying safe is better than taking risks, that stability is more important than growth. I learned this lesson painfully when I left secure jobs and predictable routines to pursue Alibaba. At the time, everyone around me thought I was reckless, even foolish. But I knew that clinging to comfort would only trap me in mediocrity. True potential is never unlocked in the place where everything feels easy and familiar. It's forged in the fire of uncertainty and challenge. I remember walking away from the stability of my earlier work, knowing that I might fail at any moment. Every step into the unknown was terrifying, yet it was the only way to learn, to grow, and to create something meaningful. Those who refuse to leave their comfort zone settle for a life dictated by fear rather than vision. If you want to achieve extraordinary results before 2026, you must identify every comfort that keeps you safe and remove it from your life. Each one is a chain disguised as convenience. Discomfort is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Every moment you feel uneasy, every time you risk rejection or failure, you are stretching the limits of what you can achieve. Growth demands that you step into the unknown, that you face temporary pain for long-term gain. By detaching from comfort, you cultivate courage, resilience, and the ability to act when others hesitate. The people who succeed are not the ones who played it safe. They are the ones who embraced discomfort, acted decisively, and refused to let fear dictate their lives. Time is the most precious resource we have, yet most people give it away freely without even realizing it. In my early career, I noticed that hours disappeared in meaningless meetings, idle chatter, and distractions like social media. Every wasted moment was energy that could have been spent learning, building, or taking action. I realized that the people, activities, and obligations I allowed into my day could either accelerate my success or quietly steal it. To unlock your true potential before 2026, you must remove everything that doesn't serve your growth. I remember how easy it was to fall into routines that felt productive but were ultimately empty. Reading endless news, scrolling on my phone, attending gatherings that led nowhere. These were all small leaks that drained my energy. I learned to protect my time fiercely, to surround myself only with people and activities that added value to my vision. Every hour wasted was an opportunity lost, and every moment reclaimed became fuel for progress. The difference between those who achieve and those who stagnate often comes down to how ruthlessly they guard their time. Time management is more than planning. It is a moral obligation to yourself and your dreams. Every distraction removed is a step closer to clarity, focus, and unstoppable momentum. By eliminating time-wasting influences, you invest fully in actions that compound, producing results far beyond what idle hours could ever create. Remember, the world rewards those who act, not those who scroll, chat, or postpone. Your future is built hour by hour. Make sure each one counts. Fear of rejection is a quiet assassin of ambition. I know this because I lived it. When I first applied to KFC, I was turned down. Investors laughed at my ideas. Many doors closed in my face. At the time, each no stung, each dismissal whispered that maybe I wasn't enough. But over the years, I learned a truth that changed everything. Rejection is only dangerous if you fear it. Once I stopped fearing no, rejection stopped being a roadblock and became fuel, lessons I could use to improve, adjust, and move forward. I remember feeling embarrassed, frustrated, even humiliated. But I also realized that every successful person I admired had faced similar moments. The difference was not luck, it was mindset. Those who succeed embrace rejection, dissect it, and allow it to guide their next move. Fear, however, keeps you frozen. It makes you explain yourself to people who will never understand your vision. Removing fear of rejection gives you freedom to act decisively and take risks that others shy away from. When you embrace no as part of the journey, you turn obstacles into stepping stones. The world only remembers doers, not talkers, and those who fear rejection waste years hesitating while others build quietly. By deleting this fear, you open the door to opportunity, resilience, and growth. Every rejection becomes a lesson, every setback, a preparation for the inevitable success that follows. Your courage grows, your decisions sharpen, and your potential expands beyond what you once imagined. Let me tell you a story you have probably heard 100 times, but it holds a lesson too many people ignore. Thomas Edison failed more than 1,000 times before he finally invented the light bulb. Imagine that. 1,000 experiments that didn't work. 1,000 moments where the world could have laughed at him. Most people would have quit. Most people would have told themselves it was impossible. But Edison worked quietly, without seeking approval, without broadcasting his failures to the world. He understood something powerful. Success belongs to those who endure in silence, not to those who talk too much or fear ridicule. The lesson here is clear. Every rejection, every mistake, every moment of ridicule is only dangerous if you allow it to shape your mindset. Edison's genius wasn't just in invention. It was in his ability to remove fear, impatience, and distraction, and focus relentlessly on the work that mattered. If he had sought validation at every step, if he had listened to critics too early, the world would never have seen the light bulb. The secret is not talent alone. It is patience, resilience, and the courage to act in silence until the results speak for themselves. I share this story because too many people fear failure. Too many people broadcast their attempts prematurely. And too many give up before their work matures. If you want to unlock your potential before 2026, you must internalize this truth. The world will not cheer you on for trying. It only respects results. Let every experiment, every challenge, every no fuel your quiet persistence. Like Edison, work in silence, endure in patience, and let your success make the noise that your critics cannot ignore. Emotions are powerful. They can inspire greatness or quietly destroy your potential if you rely on them too much. Early in my career, I often felt trapped by what others expected of me. Family, friends, society. Their opinions shaped my decisions more than I realized. I wanted approval. I wanted validation. And I wanted everyone around me to understand my vision. But I soon learned a harsh truth. The moment you rely on others to validate your choices, you surrender your freedom and your power. To unlock your true potential before 2026, you must remove these emotional dependencies completely. I remember feeling torn between following my own path and appeasing those I loved. It was exhausting. Every time I hesitated to act because I feared disappointing someone, I lost momentum. Emotional independence is not about being cold or disconnected. It is about being clear, decisive, and willing to take the risks that others won't. When you cut these dependencies, you create the freedom to act without hesitation, to pursue unconventional paths, and to make decisions that align with your vision rather than someone else's comfort. This is one of the most overlooked keys to success. Many people are trapped not by their circumstances, but by the emotional weight of others' expectations. When you release this weight, you move faster, think clearer, and act bolder. You stop seeking approval and start creating results. Your energy is no longer wasted pleasing others. It is invested entirely in building the life and success that is truly yours. Emotional independence transforms hesitation into courage, doubt into clarity, and potential into reality. Excuses are invisible chains that quietly rob you of your future. I learned this early in my life when I realized how often I, or the people around me, tried to justify inaction. I don't have enough money. I'm too young. I don't have the right connections. Each excuse sounded reasonable at the time, but in truth, it was fear disguised as logic. Excuses keep you stuck, hiding from responsibility and progress. To unlock your true potential before 2026, you must remove them completely, without hesitation. I remember watching people who had less talent, fewer resources, and more challenges rise while others stagnated simply because they refused to make excuses. Excuses are easy. Action is hard. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is not luck. It's accountability. Every time you catch yourself making an excuse, it is a signal that you are giving power away to circumstances instead of taking power for yourself. Eliminating excuses forces you to face reality, take ownership, and act with purpose. The world respects doers, not talkers. When you stop making excuses, every decision becomes intentional, every action becomes meaningful, and every opportunity becomes reachable. Excuses are a luxury you cannot afford if you want extraordinary results. By deleting them, you sharpen your focus, accelerate your momentum, and move closer to your goals every single day. Remember, excuses are comfort for the weak. Removing them is the secret weapon of those who rise above. The final barrier to unlocking your true potential is the one most people never see, the mental limitations they place on themselves. From a young age, I was told what I could and couldn't do, by teachers, by peers, even by society itself. Many doors closed to me, not because I lacked ability, but because others believed I would fail. For a long time, I let their opinions shape my thinking, and it held me back. But I realized that the only limits that truly matter are the ones I accept in my own mind. Once I removed these self-imposed boundaries, every setback, every rejection became a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. Thinking bigger than your circumstances is not easy. It requires courage to imagine what seems impossible and persistence to chase it despite doubt and fear. I had to train myself to question every assumption about what I could achieve. Every time I felt restricted, I asked, is this a real limitation or just a story I'm telling myself? The moment I stopped believing in artificial boundaries, I began taking risks, exploring opportunities, and building solutions that others never even considered. Mental freedom is the birthplace of extraordinary success. By the time 2026 ends, those who have eliminated these mental limitations will have transformed not just their results, but their identity. True potential is unlocked only when you stop letting fear, doubt, and external expectations dictate your actions. Your mind becomes the architect of your destiny, and every decision flows from clarity, confidence, and courage. Eliminate the mental barriers, and you will discover that what once seemed impossible is now inevitable.